Everybody, and welcome to Three Chicks and a Guest. Yay!
Hi, y'all.
Hello. It's not Megan for our normal audience. This is not Megan. It's our guest.
Oh,
just clarifying everything out there.
Thanks, Chris. Megan's a little prettier than you.
Yeah, I hope I'm not Megan, because if that's the case, my girlfriend will be wondering what the heck is going on around here. Yeah.
Right. Well, Megan didn't grow a beard either, so I just.
Her to go to a waxer, had she? Hi, Jeremy.
Hi, Jeremy. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for coming on tonight, whoever you are. Hello.
Thanks for coming on, Chris. So everybody who doesn't know, Chris Heidel is the founder of Herb FM podcast. He does a lot of great local and national sports. He gets a ton of guests on, and he always has them on for like 15 to 30 minutes unless I'm going to be on. Then it's usually 45 minutes and I'm waiting backstage.
Yeah. Because we can't shut up pretty much. It's just, right? We just talk too much, Adam and I. Adam, it's like we just
Adam is Chris's cohort, but Chris is the founder. And I met Adam and Chris at the ACC press conferences, 3 years ago now?
Yeah, 2 years ago. And can I tell them the story?
Yes, you can tell the story.
All right. We were in the it was Florida State in Louisville in the ACC championship media, for that Friday before the championship game. So I'm sitting next to Jenn. I didn't even know who Jenn was, and she's like choking on something. We don't have no idea what she was choking on, and then she's trying to ask the coach a question, and she's like, I'm thinking to myself, is this chick gonna passed out next to me? And I'm looking over at Adam and go, what am I supposed to do? And Adam's like. And then I had my other guy, my friend Matt, who was with me. I looked at Matt. My friend Matt goes, "Is she okay?" I'm like, "I think so." So the long story short, the joke is every time when she sees the Louisville coach, at the ACC kickoff, she had to say, "I'm not choking right now from what I'm drinking." I'm like, "What is it, Dr. Pepper?"
No, I was drinking water, and then he handed me 2 more bottles of water.
Okay, in the small media room. So that's how we start interacting. Because I was like, I'm thinking there, I'm asking a question, and she's like choking over on the other side. I'm like, okay, all right. I hope it's not on the ACC network. Yeah.
Lasting friendship. I said it's become a lasting friendship.
Yes.
I told you guys where to go get the best pizza in Charlotte.
Yes, we had you showed us that pizza place was pretty good. Adam and I were going to try to get back to it the next time we're down there, because I told him about it the other night. I was like, let's go get some pizza. He's like, yeah, we can do that. So we're going to probably do that, in July. Hopefully, we all get approved for that. Hopefully.
Fingers crossed. Because I know I need to, because I need a break from my reality. Telling you what. So Chris is from the state of Maryland. And last week, one of the daughters of the state of Maryland actually had an amazing race. Y'all may have heard of her. If not, then I dare say you should do some research. Katie Ledecky this past weekend broke another world record.
Oh wow!
Own world record in the 800 meter free, and the last time she broke the world record was in the 2016 Rio Olympics, and this weekend it was in Fort Lauderdale. And her time was 8 minutes, 4 seconds, 4.12 seconds. 12s are like tenths of a second, okay? Don't know. And she's held the first world record for 13 years So it's awesome that she broke her own. Then she also this weekend, like she said the second fastest ever time and the women's 1,500-mile free or 1,500-meter free. I'm sorry, which is a mile swim. And she did that in 15 minutes, 24 seconds, and 5/10 of a second.
Mhm.
Slightly above her world record. So, I mean, Katie's just amazing. She and Michael Phelps have trained together. And for those of you who don't know, I was a competitive swimmer. So, like, I love reading about this. So, I mean, I don't know what the water is in Maryland and then Fort Lauderdale, but dang, I wish I'd gone there. So, Chris, tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I had a friend who I went to high school with. His name is Jarrett, and he was a big swimmer. And he works with one of the Catholic schools around here, one of around where I am. And he actually faced Michael Phelps when Michael Phelps was a nobody. And I asked him, "Did you beat him?" He goes, "Oh yeah, I beat him." I was like, "So you beat a future Olympian?" And he goes, "Yeah, but it doesn't mean anything now because he has more medals than I do." I was like, "I know." But for Katie, I think Katie was in. I think there's a swim club down in the city. I think it's like Northwestern Swim Club. I think that's where she was, training, and she's, around. She's around. She lives around the Beltway, down near PG County, around that area. Yeah, so I guess a lot of swimmers come up to Baltimore, to swim because I guess the facilities are better. I really don't know, but she was really cool to watch last summer in Paris, with the Olympics, how she was breaking all these records and having these having that little girl like smile when she she waved at her and she was like that, that was pretty cool. Yeah, but I think she's really good. I think she's a good swimmer, and she represents the state of Maryland really well. And it's pretty. Hopefully, I don't know if she has any if she could still go to the Olympics in 2028 here in the LA. I don't know. But maybe she will be a professional swimmer. But that's all I know. But I never met her yet, so I was trying to get her on the show during the Olympics, but it was really hard to get those swimmers on. But I have, over the years, been successful talking to some people who are from Maryland who are Olympians. Like I think the last Winter Games was over in Beijing or something like that, or Korea or South or whatever.
I think it was Beijing.
Yeah, and I talked to somebody from a speed skater who was from this area. And it was funny. I was doing it in my parents' house down in Virginia. It was midnight. And my mom's like, "Who are you talking to?" Like somebody in Beijing. She's like, "Are you going to bed anytime soon?" I'm like, "Not really." Because there's a time difference. So I did that. I did an interview at 1:00 in the morning here.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah, I don't know. I still have it, but I got to look for it. But it's cool to get the chance to meet all these, try to get these Olympians to show these kids in the state and the country that if you work really hard, you can become somebody. Like we work on our craft of being a journalist. I'm still trying to catch that magic dollar.
Almost got it. I'm sorry.
Like almost got it. Yeah, no, commercial. But it's cool. It's if I feel like I'm successful doing what I'm doing. Because I could beat all these different people and talk to players and coaches and get them on my program and sometimes my brothers are like, "You got who on your show?" I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "How did you do that?" I'm like,
Ask.
I found them on Facebook or Twitter or whatever, and they came up. They want to come on.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, any more about Katie?
Not at the moment, but you did make me want to reach out to her to see if I can get her on our show. Kind of doubt it, but
I think you may have to go through the U.S. Swim
Association. Yeah, I have contacts there.
Yeah.
And let's face it. She started when she was 15 years old with her first Olympic medal.
Right.
Yeah. I'll be right back.
And she had unexpectedly won. 4 years later, she was decorated. She was the most decorated female athlete of the 2016 Olympic Games.
Mm-hmm.
She has during her career, she has broken 17 world records.
Wow.
17. Like, that's just unheard of. I mean, she's won 50 medals, 38 gold, 10 silvers, and 2 bronzes in major international competitions.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, she's actually born. She was born in D.C., but she raised in Bethesda, Maryland. That's around the Beltway. If anybody's been up here in Maryland, it's the down near College Park, around that area where the Terps play. So,
I was trying to think of what I was doing at 15, and it surely wasn't winning medals.
no, I don't think I was winning anything when I was 15. I think when I was 15, like I had to go work, or I was playing, baseball this time of year probably, but not, major league. I was playing some travel ball or something like that. Yeah, but 15 years old, when I was 15, I was thinking about becoming a pro bowler. Because I thought it was cool, but I can't get back to the lanes that I haven't got a chance to practice in a while. So maybe down the road.
Come on, Slacker.
Yeah, I do like to try to do one regional. One of those PBA regionals, so I could say, hey, I did it, because my friend Steve did it, and he said it was pretty cool, but he didn't bowl real well. But he said it was pretty cool bowling with the people he met on TV. I was like, yeah, I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Yeah, I think it would be neat. Talking,
I won't have to worry about that either.
You go to Kyle Troop and bowl, bowl against him, because Kyle Troop did ask me last year in Delaware when I was up there for the Delaware Classic. He was like, "Oh, you bowling in the pro-am, dude?" I'm like, "No, I'm not." He goes, "Why?" He goes, "Well, I didn't think about it. Maybe next year." He goes, "Well, I would love you to bowl against me." I was like, "Kyle, I have to go through the minor leagues because I'm like Roger Clemens. Okay, I got to start out small and work my way up because I haven't bowled in years, so I'll be lucky to put it on the lane, and maybe not, So
I can do Wii bowling. Is that tournament?
yeah, I like Wii bowling. It's fun, but I don't know how people break TVs. It's kind of hard to lose the controller.
Well, I have not broken TV that way. No. I've done it other ways, but not that way. I'm not really good at moving TVs. Let's just put it that way.
That's cool. I played at
Well, I think
billiard.
moving TVs have gotten a lot easier, Kari, because the TVs now are just screens that you put up.
Well, you can just put it your arm and walk out with it.
Yeah,
I know. Not like in the day when, dare I say, when I grew up and they were like the big console and.
And FYI, I think we do have a console TV that we're going to have to get rid of at Mom and Dad's. So do you want it? It's kind of scary. I think maybe like this. Because what we played Atari on was the console TV. Yeah, I just dated myself too. That's all right.
That's okay. It's all good. We can laugh about each other, and hey, age is
I've gone
mind, right?
I've gone from a cell phone being as big as a laptop computer to micro back to the size of a laptop again. So.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
My first battery for my phone was about this thick. My cell phone. It was like you couldn't put in your pocket. You had to carry a purse or something, otherwise you couldn't. Yeah.
I had a phone. The bag phones that you just like J.R. Ewing had on Dallas back in the early 80s.
Oh my God.
So.
My mom had to flip one of those old cell phones, and you had to pull it out of your purse, and she's like, "Here's my cell phone." I was like, "Wow, Mom."
The little. I didn't ever have one of those. I went from the bag to a very bulky flip phone.
Yeah, and then she had a flip phone for a while. I said, "That's pretty old." I saw a lady the other day at work had a flip phone. I said to her, "Like, how old was that thing?" She goes, "That's brand new." I was like, "They still make them?"
Yeah, they put those. They have new flip phones out. Yeah.
I was like, wow. I was like, I thought I was bad having I have a phone, it's an Android, not an Apple phone, but who needs one?
So before you leave, Chris, I know we're going to discuss Greg Popovich
and
his retirement, and I'm going to let Candy go in a little bit, but then you can, because I know you have to leave, then you can wait cents in if you want, because I got 5 cents worth of information.
Well, I think
10 cents. We'll see 7.5 cents.
Yeah, I think Pop is going to be one of those legendary coaches, just like Red Auerbach and the people like what's his name, Phil Jackson and all those people. Just he didn't really cause any problems. He was one of those coaches that just everybody played for. And yes, he did talk out the last couple of years about situations going on but hey, when you win how many championships with a team that didn't win one when you got there? Because the Spurs weren't that great until David Robinson showed up, and then they brought Tim Duncan in, and then they got everybody else, and they started winning championships. So I think he actually changed that franchise around because that was a really bad franchise that came from the ABA, except for the Iceman. That was the only guy who was pretty good on the Spurs, but. Yeah. So anyway, that's my 5 cents or 2 cents or whatever you need.
So because you said we needed to discuss it, and you were 100% right. Take it away, and then I'll add some, and I know Kari probably will too, unless that's still what she wants to say.
Okay. So Pop was the head coach of the Spurs for 29 seasons, from 96 to 2025. During which he won 5 NBA champions, was the longest tenured active coach in the NBA, as well as any other and all major sports leagues in the United States until he retired. He has been a member of the Spurs organization since 94, originally as president of basketball operations and general manager, before taking over as coach in 96. Popovich has the most wins of any coach in NBA history and is widely regarded as one of the greatest coaches of all times. He, as a head coach, 5 times NBA champion, 3 times NBA Coach of the Year, 4 times NBA All-Star Game head coach, 3 times SCIAC champion, top 15 coaches in NBA history. And to be honest with you, it's cool, but it was sad because if any of you are listening and don't know, he had a stroke back in October and November, took some time away. Now he came back and he said, now, what did he hate? He has shirts. He'll be El Jeffrey because he's going to be the president.
El Jefe.
El Jefe. Yeah. So he's stepping down as coach, but he's still going to be very much involved.
Yes.
Well, I think that's great. That he's going to be so involved with the Spurs, and he's going to be the president. And I was just reading his career. He was actually close friends to Larry Brown at Kansas. Larry Brown became coach at with the Sixers, and I think he was with the Knicks and all that stuff. So that's pretty cool. And then I guess he came to San Antonio with Brown, and I guess Brown became the head coach of the Spurs. But
how Pop became the head coach was he was the team's general manager and VP of basketball ops, and then he fired, and this was quite controversial at the time. He fired Bob Hill, who was the current coach at that point, and named himself the head coach.
Right.
So, I mean, I kind of love that. It's kind of worked out well for him and the Spurs.
Well, it worked out in the long run because they got Tim Duncan from Wake Forest during that draft. So if they didn't tank, they wouldn't even draft Tim Duncan, and then Tim Duncan wouldn't even be with David Robinson and become the Twin Towers. Yeah, that's
true.
Yeah,
and the fact that he won 5 rings. He's the winningest basketball coach in NBA history. I mean, hats off. And Megan, if you are watching, feel free to add comments if you can. Megan, our Spurs correspondent.
We all know that since I grew up in the middle of the Bible Belt, we didn't have anything but football here. So, I mean, as far as professional, so in football and baseball. So basketball wasn't something I grew up watching, but Pop is somebody that garners your appreciation and respect just in the way that he handles situations. And I've appreciated listening to him and seeing him coach. I also appreciate the fact that the Spurs have found a place for him in their organization and allowed him to stay.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have to. I mean, let's be real. This world, nothing's given, nothing is promised. So the fact that they found a spot and they made him, a very active member of the organization, I think that's a lot. That says a lot about coach in a very broad, big way, I think.
Yeah. He was a pretty decent basketball player, too, in college with Air Force. Not bad.
And I always forget this for some reason that Steve Kerr, the head coach of the Warriors, played actually for Pop 4 seasons during his NBA career.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, he goes. Steve Kerr, went there after Michael Jordan left Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so Steve Kerr is the only guy who has 7 or 8 rings, pretty much. Plus, he's a coach with Golden State, so he won a couple there. So he basically he's just like Bill Russell almost, have like 10 rings almost. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah,
I'm pulling that right now.
His coaching tree includes Mike Budenholzer, Joe Prunty, Mike Brown, Brett Brown, Ime Udoka, James Boringo, Mitch Johnson, Becky Hammond. There's a couple more: Will Hardy, Jim Broyle, Jackie Vaughn, Sean Marks, he's a GM, and Ettore Messina, and PG Carlsmo. I'm badgering that name, but just think if he's had 29 seasons with how many different NBA players has he touched, molded? Like we said, Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr, I mean, didn't come under his coaching tree, but played for him.
right.
And also assistant coach in the 2020 U.S. Olympics.
Yeah, I was going to say, Steve Kerr sang his praises the other day at a press conference. So, and he was wearing the LFA shirt too. So,
yeah.
I know that, Kari. Yeah, I'm proud of you.
Huh?
Mm-hmm. So that's cool. Yeah. So yeah, he I guess he goes down in history. And now the longest tenured coach is Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh.
Steelers. Yep.
Everybody else is and I think second is the guy right down the street here in where I live in Maryland, John Harbaugh.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's been with Baltimore since just finished his 16th season or his 17th season or whatever. But he's been around. It was only been him and Billick the last couple of years in Baltimore, and then Ted Moshe showed up. So there's only been 3 coaches here in the Ravens. That's pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like the cat's making an appearance.
He does. There's something about me being on a podcast that he thinks he should make an appearance.
Well, I have a lot of executive producers. Sometimes it's the cats stop by it, and I do have to give them some treats. Some like this. Hey, there's Petey. Petey, how you doing, Petey? Yeah, but Petey's passed out in the basket right now.
Well, when we do work calls, Andy has to make an appearance too, whether it's behind me on the top of my chair or he just jumps up in front of and I'm like, well, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, we have 3 cats. Oh, wait a minute, he's awake. Oh boy, he just rolled.
You woke him up.
Yeah. Hi, Petey. Petey, you want to come on real quick? No, you're not paying your fee, buddy. No. Yeah. There's no contract. Okay. No, he's passed out on the floor now.
I love cats.
He's like, I'm not coming on because they didn't pay me. Okay, buddy.
Then we can barely hear you.
Huh?
Really? Could you not hear my dogs just then?
I could hear you.
Okay.
I heard who was it that voiced their opinion?
I don't
know.
Paying that close attention. I think it was Senya.
Because I heard her.
Sorry.
Well, Well, ladies, I appreciate letting me come on. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the show, and maybe we could get you, Kari, or Candy, or I know Jen's always a lifetime member of the program. But if you like to, anytime you guys want to come on, we'd love to have you because I think Adam likes to talk to you guys, and and Adam does a great job. It's if you guys don't tune into my show, it's Monday nights at 7:30 on. We're on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook.
Hey, if you want to share it for our audience onto the Three Chicks page, please do, and that way we can introduce you to our audiences as well.
Oh, cool. Because I like to get maybe more than two. Maybe I could get 3 people to tune in to watch. I make a running joke of my people today at work. Like, how many? I said I had 70 people on last night. At 70. I thought you said 7. I was like, well, I got 3. One's on vacation. The other one probably is watching TV downstairs. And the other one's probably living in Bel Air. Like, oh, you're on? Okay. Yeah. Mother, yeah.
So, Chris, how can our viewers find you and your podcast? Where exactly can you find it?
You could go to YouTube and type in Herb Defense Sports Radio on YouTube, and you'll see all the wonderful videos that I have been doing with Adam. This week we just did our show last night. We previewed the Mets and D-backs out in Arizona. Because I had a guy from New York and a guy from Arizona on, and then we also previewed the local team here, Baltimore, taking on the Twins. I got a guy from Baltimore and a guy from Minnesota, who lived in South Dakota. So I guess South Dakota and Minnesota are that's their boundary for the Twins. And then we had who else we had on the show yesterday? Well, I know next Monday we're going to have Kelly Hewick, the lady professional bowler who beat the men in the Tournament of Championships for the PBA. Well, he beat our good friend Chris Barnes. So she'll be on because we're going to talk about the women's tour that started up this week. And then we're going to talk to we try to get on the old bowlers, the ones that if you watch the professional bowlers tour back in the day on ABC or NBC or CBS or whatever. A guy named Hugh Miller, who used to bowl on TV, a lefty, won a couple Quaker State Opens back in the day. And I actually bowled in that lane, guys, down in Grand Prairie, Texas. I was down there for the Cotton Bowl, and my friend Matt goes, let's go bowling. I'm like, let's go see if we're in Grand Prairie. Let's go see if the bowling alley is still there. And it's still there.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we walked in there, and I asked the guy, this is a true story. I went into the guy to get the lanes. I'm like, can I have lane 39 and 40, please? And he looks at me and goes, what's so great about lane 39 and 40? I said, well, there's some guy named Bob Benoit that bowled a perfect game on this pair, and we love to bowl on the same pair so we can feel like we're at Yankee Stadium in bowling. Mm-hmm. The guy looked at us like, well, we're not having leagues tonight, so you can't bowl on lane 39 and 40, but we could give you lane 32 and 33. I was like, well, we'll take that. Yeah. Yeah. But it was fine. And I didn't realize I was counting how I had to bowl with the house ball, so I got maybe 12 strikes, and I'm like, wow, I got a strike in the lanes I used to watch on TV. That's pretty cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. So, and then Adam just got back from Akron, Ohio for the Tournament of Champions, and I went out there too, not this year, but a couple years ago, and that's another story for another day about, sum it up is do not drive in the snow in the state of Ohio. That's all I'm saying.
I thought it was do not drive in the state of Ohio.
Yeah, because they don't know how to plow.
That's North Carolina. And probably Florida too, right, Candy?
They also do not have highways that connect you from here to there. You only can get there by county roads. Just putting that out there as well.
Okay, that works.
My brother lives in Ohio. If you're not off the interstate,
77 going up to the Pennsylvania Turnpike, it was like a nightmare. And because they, I guess they got a couple of inches of snow, and I guess the plow guy was on strike or probably had a Winn-Dixie or something. We don't know where he was. But it was a treacherous until we got to the Pennsylvania line, and the road was so clear. I wanted to hug a transportation guy and say, thank you so much for making the state of Pennsylvania clear, sir. Because we had no problems getting home because this guy right here waited a little at the bowling thing because my friend Matt goes, it's snowing. I'm like, oh, it's okay. We won't stick on the ground. Yeah. So,
don't ever say that because it will.
Yeah, it'll stick. So the moral of the story is, folks, if it starts snowing, head on home. Okay?
Okay.
That's a good thing. So, all right. Well, ladies, I appreciate you letting me join you tonight. I hope
thanks for coming on, Chris.
Sorry about the last time. I didn't know how to log into Riverstone or whatever the other. I'm like, what is this? I don't know. But
okay, this worked.
Yeah, but I like this one. But don't be a stranger. We love to have you on. So.
All right.
So,
Thanks, Chris.
See you later. Bye.
Bye. Thanks,
Bye.
Chris.
So, Kari, I know you're going to try and get into your feel-good story that we always leave with. But before you do that, I want to just do a quick shout out. On Sunday, this weekend, I was at the Miami Marlins games. I went Saturday night and Sunday. And I just have to say kudos to their coach, Clayton McCullough, because he brought his son to the ballpark and they played catch before the game. And then he let his son go out and take a little infield practice with some of the fielders and was playing, before the game. And I'm like, those memories are what that kid is going to remember the most. Like, I just thought that was so cool. I remember doing things with my dad with baseball, whether it be sitting outside in the summer, listening to Bob Uecker on the radio, calling the games, or whether we went down to the game. I just thought it was so cool. And J.I. did the Marlins win on Saturday night in dramatic fashion. A grand slam home run with 2 outs, bottom of the ninth, to take the game and, yes, win. Sunday they did not fare so well. But I just thought that was a cool moment, and I really just wanted to do a quick shout out because you don't always see that, especially if in professional sports, them bringing their kids and integrating them and stuff like that. I just thought that was so cool. So
I think that's a perfect story to end on, considering we're coming up on Mother's Day weekend, bringing the family aspect. I love it when we see families, even we get to see coaches and players in professional setting have family moments. I think that's really awesome. And why shouldn't it be that way? Well, some of them. There's some that, like Kansas City, does not have a family moment with one of the Reed boys, but we won't go there.
Sounds like a conversation for our 7 days from today.
It's an offline thing, probably.
You're hilarious.
Well, Candy, I appreciate you sharing that because I love the pictures that you shared with us private, in our chat. But I think that is just phenomenal. And why not? Why can't they do that?
Exactly. You just
Mahomes talks about being able to do that with his dad, and I think that that's something that we may see that little guy in different professionals setting at a different time.
Yes. Well,
we do want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight, right? We miss Megan, but she is, she's queen of the ballpark. So
she's got keys to the kingdom now.
She's got keys to the kingdom. So let's all rush down to see Megan in Texas.
Run to Texas. You can stop before you get to the border.
Sliding stop.
You what? You don't have to. I can do for a little Mexican beach villa action right now.
There you go.
Anything but work. That's all I want. Anything but work.
Yes.
Well, ladies, I think we had a fun show tonight. I loved having Chris on. I love talking a little Katie Ledecky. Of course, we always love talking about our icons and legends like Greg Popovich. And he knew what he was doing when he fired Bob Hill and hired himself.
Hey, Jay, I agree. Jen looks like an angel tonight, and I told her that.
Yeah. Thank you.
I sent it to her a message because Chris was talking. I was like, man, she looks like an angel tonight.
Thanks.
She does.
Godly love today. I'll tell you what.
Well, we're here for you.
Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you everybody for it, contributing in the chat room. Thank you, Chris, for coming on. We appreciate all of you. Much love. Much love to all the mothers out there for Mother's Day. Our hearts go out to each and every one of you.
We love you.
Love you guys. Thank you.